10 deep lessons from the book Validation. Number 1. Psychologists obviously aren't the only ones interested in changing how people think or behave. We all spend an excessive amount of time trying to get people to listen to us. And despite our best efforts, we often fail. I'd be willing to bet that right now, there's at least one person in your life you're struggling to influence. Perhaps someone at home, your kid, partner, or parent, or someone at your job, a manager or a colleague. You want them to work more, work less, stop talking about work, respond to your messages, quit messaging you, learn how to use Messenger. The ways in which we want the people around us to change are infinite. Number 2. Validating will improve your ability to influence behavior, period. Failing to validate people will often render you totally ineffective, and in some scenarios, it will actually damage the person or relationship you hope to affect. Importantly, this connection between validation and change applies to yourself as much as it does to others. Knowing how to self-validate will improve your relationship with yourself and the likelihood that you'll actually succeed in making the changes you want to make. Number 3. Self-invalidation is like a cancer. It spreads throughout the system, becoming increasingly difficult to contain. It also operates like a cruel, self-fulfilling prophecy. Feelings of insecurity undermine a person's ability to be effective, which in turn reinforces their insecurity. Validation improves relationships by transforming how they feel. It increases trust, intimacy, and psychological safety. Research has consistently shown validation to be among the strongest predictor of relational outcomes, ranging from commitment to quality across various types of relationships. Data show that a person's relationships can increase their probability of surviving by 50%. Number 4. The term influencing people means getting them to listen to you. You give advice, they take it. You tell them what to do, they do it. Note that your influence won't extend very far if people aren't engaging with you. Importantly, validation inclines people not only to talk but also to listen. There's a lot of research in this space, but the most compelling comes from studies on the most notoriously stubborn, unpersuadable, cannot be reasoned with people on the planet. Adolescents. High rates of validation from fathers had a similar effect on the relationship between hardship and perpetration of violence, but only in boys. I feel like this study warrants a public service announcement. Parents, if your adolescents are struggling, validating them may protect them from becoming victims or perpetrators of sexual violence. Number 5. The paradox that those skilled in validating come to appreciate is that not only do we need to treat others the way we'd want to be treated, but we also must treat ourselves with the same kindness we'd extend to others. It's one thing to say that validation skills can help you improve your relationships, decrease conflict, influence people, drive change, and develop self-compassion. It's another to say that anyone can develop these skills. The question of whether or not you need to be emotionally intelligent or have an advanced degree in psychology to become good at validating can be answered through experimental research. And it has been. From family members to students and doctors, people from all walks of life have proven capable of increasing the extent to which others perceive them as validating and achieving positive outcomes. Significant changes have been reported after just 2 sessions of validation training, and in one experiment, after only 45 minutes. These studies show not only that everyday folks are able to objectively increase their ability to validate through basic instruction, but also that they can achieve meaningful improvements in their lives and relationships as a result. Number 6. Mindfulness, you might remember, is defined by Jon Kabat-Zinn as paying attention, on purpose, in the present moment and non-judgmentally. With validation, you bring that purposeful, non-judgmental awareness to another person. In a sense, validation is a kind of interpersonal mindfulness practice. Rather than the breath or body serving as the anchor for your attention, as is common in traditional mindfulness exercises, your focus is on another person's experience. Number 7. Validation communicates that you're mindful, paying attention, understand, see rationality in, and empathize with, connect with, or care about someone's experience, thereby accepting it as valid. So what constitutes a person's experience, and how do you know if it's valid? For our purposes, a person's experience consists of their emotions, thoughts, and behavior. Importantly, you do not need to validate each part of someone's experience. One of the cardinal rules of validation is that you should only validate the valid. Remember, the negativity bias causes us to focus on what we dislike or find confusing. Your task is to search for the kernel of truth, what you consider reasonable, in another person's experience, and validate it. If you're struggling to find the kernel of truth, consider whether their emotions, behavior, or thoughts make sense in light of each other. Does a person's behavior seem valid given their thoughts? Organizing a demonstration to demand that the government provide nuclear waste cleanup is reasonable if someone thinks their city has been exposed to radioactive particles. Number 8. Validation communicates that it's okay, not it will be okay. Affirming the former can position you as an ally. If you jump too quickly to the latter, you might very well become part of the problem. Although validation and problem-solving represent opposite motivations, they're not incompatible. Remember, acceptance and change are like two sides of the same coin. Problem-solving how my kid can better prepare for tests in the future is totally reasonable and may even be necessary if she's struggling to improve her scores. The issue is that in the absence of validation, she's not likely to listen to any of my brilliant ideas. If someone responds to your vulnerability by telling you all of the changes you need to make to feel less vulnerable, you're more likely to feel judged than supported. Feeling judged translates to feeling misunderstood. And when we don't feel like someone understands us or our problems, we're not likely to trust their advice on how to change things. Number 9. The problem with taking action when someone hasn't asked you to intervene is that you might make the situation worse. This usually results from misreading social cues. The person can't take whatever action is needed, but they also don't want your help, thank you very much. Number 10. Emoting means openly expressing your feelings, specifically the feelings you have in response to what someone has shared with you. You don't need to exaggerate your emotions. On the contrary, emoting is all about authenticity. It's dropping whatever facade you're maintaining and allowing yourself to have an unfiltered, genuine response to another person. In Stuart's case, this meant abandoning the comedic persona people have come to expect from him. For others, it might mean leaning into playfulness. If you've ever been accused of taking yourself too seriously, you should give this one a try. You'll inevitably discover that when you allow yourself to be as you are, without pretense or posture, you create opportunities for others to do the same. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, you probably will not see us again. If you have, congratulations, you are growing every day.